down here in the bottom right, in the teal for KT Roaster, the Protoss player. He is.
KT Roaster, Zest.
Not using the keyboard, just drinking his water.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. It's a 10 pool from this player.
SK Telecom T1 Su.
Oh, man. I actually like this a lot.
I'm scared about it, man, because this is really the biggest weakness I saw out of Su yesterday in his series against San was actually his early pools just did not seem to work out for him, and it seemed to be like, I don't know, his micro was off. He just didn't have really the best decision-making out of transitioning out of the pools. This isn't like a super fast pool. It's not a 7 pool or anything like that, but it's still an early pool, and see how he does with this one.
I feel like this may be Su thinking, you know, he's going to throw it on the forward. He picks another 2-player map. I'm just going to get into the early pool and punish him, and he's going to have that pylon in his main base, or I could just kill him. And he's going to be very disappointed when he sees that gateway.
Yeah, he is. Now, the probe here sees this right away, pulls away from making that Nexus. Makes a second pylon here, drops the gases.
Yep.
So he's just going to get a Zealot out here to be safe.
He doesn't even have to chrono boost. Just going to slowly get out that Zealot. It's a very long rush distance to get those zings all the way down into the bottom right corner.
Su, of course, with a 10 pool is not going to be powering out like massive numbers of lings. And he knows he's been scouted, so he transitions right away into the hatchery. Man, he's not going to be happy, like you said, when he gets over here, because this is going to be his first scout of what's going on in the main base. Obviously, the Overlord saw earlier there was no natural, so you could reasonably assume that would probably be the case. It's going to be tough to find a place with this pylon placement where you can actually pick on something and do damage, and the Zealot control here has been pretty excellent. There are enough lings here now to fight against one Zealot, but with the second one coming out and the Mothership Core soon to follow.
Yeah, getting the chrono boost on the Mothership Core, 2 Zealots. Su is... I know we got the camera shot to try to see his emotions there, but you can't really tell by his face, but in his head, he's got to be not very happy with this.
The thing about this build is I feel like a lot of people look at this and say, well, Zest wins this trade, now Su has to play the rest of the game from behind. But it's not really quite like that, because he had to make 2 Zealots in the early game, which is expensive, and oftentimes he'll try to skip that early on so you can get you know, other things faster, because Zealots aren't too useful. Then he also delayed his Nexus, of course, very significantly by those 2 Zealots, and couldn't make it on time. And all the larva that Su has to remake his drones is going to give him the chance to catch up on Harvesters. This is not a situation where Su got nothing. He got no kills, but it's that pressure that he gets here. And he's, with these 5-6 drones he's making right now, going to catch up in Harvesters. That Nexus is still not even halfway done. And he's absolutely able to transition out of this. That's why we see 10 pools so often in this matchup, because it's not like an earlier pool where you have to do damage or you're basically screwed. It's just a pressure opening.
Yeah, it's a nice pressure opening that if the Protoss goes for certain builds, you can punish them definitely. And if not, you can be okay just for the rest of the game as well. So far we see a Stargate coming down. And he's adding 2 gates here at the front. Now this third base for Su is not super early. Maybe, you know, Zest didn't really get the scout, but maybe he's assuming that the third base is coming down pretty early after the 10 pool. May want to try to punish over there, but there's no third base just yet for Su.
Yeah, and he's taking double gases. See what he wants to do as a follow-up here. Now, there's always the possibility that Zest decides to... he may actually just kill some Overlords and then again gauge where Su is based on the fact that he went for an early pool and his droning is not as precise and accurate as he would like it to be in a normal game at this timing, and go for the Immortal push again. But before he even thinks about that, he's going to be thinking about the Roach Warren and the Lair that we see here on 2 base. Su is just so aggressive today and yesterday with these builds.
Well, you know, when you're angry and you're at home and you're laddering, you're going to be like, I'm going to cheese this guy so hard. But of course, for Su, it's not really a tease. It's just very aggressive builds. He's taking his anger out on the Starcraft right now. He's saying, I am going to be super aggressive and try to just punish my opponent. now Zest coming over here with the Phoenixes. He sees no third base, and he's like, He sees the lair as well.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, there's the third base going down. I think this might just be for... You know, I'm really not sure. Let's just wait and see. Monix goes down here back at home. And obviously, so with these Phoenixes, he's like, well, you're not going Mutilus, right? Because that would be a terrible mistake. He's just going to keep scouting, you know, keep picking off a drone here and there if he can.
Yeah, not losing too much health from the Phoenix. Getting one drone there. And the speed is started for the Roaches, as well as just 4.
We don't see this type of timing attack all too often anymore in contemporary StarCraft because it's not a very strong one, especially if scouted. If he just commits to Roach speed, a bunch of Roaches off of 3 base with like basically no drones behind at the third only queue, I think that Zest will be able to hold it pretty easily. Another reason why we don't see this type of attack anymore is because maps are just so much bigger than they used to be.
Yeah. If you think about even the Roaches with the speed, they're going to have a long way to go around this winding map. We saw the Zerglings of Su trying to get at the rocks before, and it really shows that he was thinking about this play way before he even started to put down that layer of the gases. So, you know, he wanted to make a quicker path here, and he's going to come over here now and try to finish those rocks off.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to commit heavily to this, though. Just a poke. He's going to take that third base, but it also allows him safety. If, for example, Zest wanted to go for like a super fast type of immortal push again, anything like that, the Roaches give him safety there. He's getting burrow movement, which I thought he might once he got burrow earlier, but this again is not for some sort of crazy timing where he's just going to burrow under the force fields to win the game necessarily. Because now he's just doing a little bit of poking, and he wants to, if he can, keep the attention of Zest at his base on the defense and away from the third base. The gate is being added right now. Just 1.
Just 1. I don't... Is it really just going to stay at 1? I mean, he's got the other gates that he put up there. Maybe he just decided 1 more. Okay, no, it's going to be for that wall.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And he's going to put up this third base here, the KT logo, showing its face right when that Nexus goes down.
Every time I cast Zest, I just think about that commercial that I did.
Such a funny commercial.
I'll tweet that again later for those who didn't see it. But this is not a very sneaky group of Roaches. They think they are, but they're scouted. That's like when someone hides behind the curtain. You're like playing hide and seek with your kid, and like the kid's hiding behind the curtain, you can see his feet. You're just like pretending like you can't to give him like some sort of feeling of like maybe he's been successful in his hiding. That's how the observer is right now. He's like, oh, I'll pretend like I'm not looking at you guys, but this is pretty obvious. I mean, he's going to try to burrow in now, but he's not only totally seen, but he runs into a wall.
Yeah, he was trying to come from both sides, actually. The ones over here, there's a cannon over there as well, Roaches.
He's going to actually commit this time, though. Because even though there's only a cannon there, it's only 1. Second cannon starts firing, but...
He has 2 observers. One is following those Roaches back there, but now he's bringing it back over here. I think the other one is in the base of Su right now, getting the scout off.
His Roaches are so... They've got to be feeling pretty awkward right now.
They're just like trying desperately to find a place to unburrow.
There's like just no way they're going to escape or do damage. They're like, just gonna go hide over here. No, I guess not. Tries to break down. He's like, well, there are 2 cannons there. I guess that's not gonna work either. Okay, somehow these Roaches escaped, and that's obviously why he does float around the base like that. The same reason why you leave a DT on the edge. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah. Gonna take a little bit to kill them, just because the regen rate during the burrow is so much.
Well, I mean, Locust upgrade is done. It's going into Swarmos. Like you said earlier, this is a great map for Swarmos. We see it all the time. And sometimes the games go really long here. It's very tough for the Protoss to deal with those Swarmos. He's just doing so much damage. He's like killing drones, killing this Overseer. He has lost 1 probe this game. That's it. Everything else that you see on that tab was all dead Zerg units.
That's incredible. That's like so hard to do, actually. And right now, he's getting Colossi. He's getting so many Void Rays. He's getting a bunch of upgrades as well. And he's on 3 base, so he can't get all the upgrades at one point, or at the same time, rather. But he's getting so much tech out here. He's getting a huge death ball.
Well, that's a lot of swarm hosts.
And, you know, he has the vision on that with the Observer.
He goes into double Stargate here. He knows what he needs to do.
Yep, he's already got 1 Stargate. He's going to get 2 more.
Swarm hosts, I think they just stayed in the same place. They did reburrow there. He's going to try to kill Overlords. I mean, Zest is basically playing at the highest level of harassment. This whole game, he's always doing something. He's always either defending against a double-pronged roach attack with burrow movement. He's always finding these roaches, and he's like harassing with his phoenixes. He's so on top of this game. Fasters are coming out here against the impending Void Rays.
And the Observer placement over those Swarm hosts is going to be so key. If eventually he makes it over that part of the map without Su realizing, he could definitely snipe some of those Swarm hosts as well.
I can't believe he saved all those phoenixes. He is just playing so well right now. There's not a single thing on this map that's going unnoticed to him. He gets Observer speed too, because he's like just going to be super safe and careful and absolutely sure more than he already is about everything.
I feel like that's also to fly with a bunch of the Void Rays and try to snipe all these burrowed units.
Yeah, could also go for killing some creep tumors with the Void Rays maybe. You know, it's just a lot of utility in that.
4th base now taken for Zest. Good placement over there to the left. Taking that one in the middle is so hard when there's this many swarm hosts on the map. 13 right now. Well, he's got a Warp Prism over here. He's making 9 Zealots over there. Going to keep this army back and distracted while he takes a 4th. So there's no coincidence this happens right as he's taking a 4th base. He's just trying to keep the attention away. Warp Prism escapes here. A lot of spines here, but they're not ready yet. These queens are transfusing to the best of their ability. It's not going to be enough. And I mean, he's been able to eliminate all the queens here now. And he's still eliminating this creep too. So he's using that Observer speed, having this Protoss army on the other side of the map from his harassment. Just outmaneuvering Su because he knows that Su's composition is so slow. Yep. Getting the Fleet Beacon right now as well for Tempest later on. He's still got this Warp Prism and so many Warp Gates. Those Roaches desperately trying to fight against those charged Zealots, and they're doing a decent job, but more and more Zealots keep coming. And, you know, this 4th base isn't even mining. Could actually just target down that hatchery, actually.
I guess so. With +2 on these Zealots and 2 more coming in. No queens for transfuse. It's just goner, that hatch.
There it is. And now he has his 4th base of his own, and Su's back on 3 base, and there's a very strong Protoss army right in the middle of the map.
Su's got to be stressing right now. Does not want to lose to Zest twice. Triple Chrono went down there on those Stargates that were making triple Void Rays, and then he canceled them. I think realizing, you know, I don't want to have this many Void Rays. I'd rather actually have some more Zealots on the ground harassing, and I need a few more High Templar. Spend my gas on that right now.
Yeah. Going to have a great mix here. Archons, Void Rays, Colossi, a ton of upgrades as well.
The Death Ball. The Fleet Beacon, he hasn't added any Tempest yet. He can start +2 air weapons. Already has the armor finishing up right now, and he got +1 a long time ago. Alright. Got Zealots in that Warp Prism. He's actually chasing Swarmos with that. This base has to be canceled. 5 Broods now on the way. They have to be very careful, though, that they engage with support of the Infestors, because without that, even these Corruptors are not going to be enough to keep the Void Rays at bay.
Oh, and look at this. He could actually keep those 2 Phoenixes over there doing a ton of damage to the supply, but he wants to go for the attack. The overcharge is on all the Voiders, and the Colossi doing a ton of damage. There's not much on the ground here for Su as well.
Yeah,
everything in the air goes down.
He's crushing this, and now that there's no way to deal with the Void Rays, it's looking like this might actually be the end of the game here. The Colossi deal with the Infestors, and now he's on top of the Swarm Hosts. I don't know. Here comes the Phoenix, too. Even he's wanting to get a part of the action now. And it looks like just with this one engagement, compositionally, Zest had the better army. Way too many Void Rays for the Corruptors. The Fungals were not there. And that's it. Zest does it again. And now our 5th and final game, +3 is about to finish. These Corruptors come out, but they're just going to be witnesses to Su's defeat, as there's just way too many Stalkers on the ground. Plus, the Void Rays could actually just fight them. GG. Zest is going to a finals, and Su will not. Oh, look at that. Showing it. He's going to the finals, yeah. And Su will not be the first player to ever play in 3 back-to-back GSLs.
Yep. Zest going to come back here, showing off his pin and his team. Su has to be pissed, man. He's been angry these entire 2 days, and now losing once again to Zest. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Oh, I'm sure everyone is also very, very excited about the fact that we will have a Protoss versus Protoss finals. The power of Protoss is coming in here in full force, Brendan. So we're going to have 2 back-to-back Protoss versus Protoss matches to end the afternoon, the night, whatever you want to call it.
The morning, depends on where you are.
Yeah.
But here, guys, we have the results. Of course, Zest taking that one 3-2 over Su. And make sure you stay tuned for the next PvP. San proving a lot of people wrong, coming out first in the group in the round of 16, or rather the round of 8. And he's going to be up against Parting.
So San, he does it with a PvT and a PvZ to get out of the group, but now he's got to play his very first Protoss versus Protoss in this tournament. And he's going to have to prove himself against Parting, who doesn't get nervous, doesn't really get shaken in PvP by those builds, and there's a lot of mind games that goes into a Protoss versus Protoss. On the other hand, before we go into this series, we are going to take a quick commercial break, so stay tuned. Don't